Hello Sagittarius, welcome to your September forecast for the year of 2017. I am Kyana Mayfield from LibraLunaCenter.com, and this month is a preliminary month to October, which is the beginning of the new chapter that was seeded during the eclipse season in August. As Jupiter moves into Scorpio, we are launching off with the new intentions that the solar eclipse was sprouting within us, right? As Jupiter moves into a fixed sign, the nodal axis being in the fixed sign, in Leo, in Aquarius, the fixed signs, right? So this is the Virgo season, September, and it is post-eclipse, and it is also the last month that Jupiter will be in Libra. So Jupiter will move into Scorpio on October 10th, and this being your ruling planet is an extra crucial time for you as you are getting ready to change basically your entire overview on your life path, as well as Saturn has been in your first house for a few years now. And by the end of this year, October being a marking point just before then, right? By the end of this year in December, you will be going through a major shift in how you orchestrate yourself, Sagittarius. And this is also the last month that Saturn will be not stopped, but at 21 degrees. It has been basically hanging out at this degree for about 2 months now, right? Since around the end of July, Saturn has been in this particular degree of Sagittarius, and it is finally beginning to move by the end of this month. So we also have Pluto stopped, which will come direct on the 28th. So getting into it, the major conversations that are going on for you this month, Sagittarius, is we're having a full moon in Pisces, or we've had since this horoscope is late, but it is still having an effect throughout this entire month, right? So we had on September 6th the full moon in Pisces conjuncting Neptune, which was happening for you in your fourth house of home, of roots, of family, of emotions, right? Your emotional foundation, as well as the integration of your personality. So if you think back to the beginning of this year when we had the solar eclipse in Pisces, back when the nodal axis was in Virgo Pisces, right? Before it changed in May of 2017, we had this solar eclipse in Pisces in February, I believe February 26th, earlier this year. And then was the like the last hoorah, right? The last hoorah of the confusion and the for you in particular, the last sort of remnants of whatever you've been experiencing since the end of 2015. So this entire summer thus far for you has been one of finding new ways to release your confusion, finding new ways to break out of this feeling of being somewhat aimless, somewhat wanderless, somewhat homeless even, right? And this full moon marks marks as the final culmination point, the release of this feeling of being aimless or lost, right? Confused, or even stuck in a pattern of confusion, right? Because Sagittarius, you yourself like to move, right? You like to be the one who is out exploring new horizons, going on new adventures, broadening your perspective of reality, right? You are the philosopher of the zodiac. And for the past few years, it's almost as if you've been, you haven't been able to get past the chapter that you've been living in, right? It's almost as if you've been stuck on one particular page of the story and you haven't been able to turn the page, right? So with the fourth house, it could be related to anything, right? But ultimately it is this integrative power within your personality, right? Like everything that you've experienced up till now, right? Whatever this dark night of the soul has been for you, with Saturn in your own sign, right? With and this particular year, with Jupiter, your ruling planet in Libra, in your 11th house, which has been looking at your world, right? Looking at the world you participate in, looking at every facet of your world, including the relationships, including the connections you've made, who connects you to what, right? Who puts you on the right path? Who integrates you in a way back to yourself? Who helps you get there? What helps you get there? What groups? What are you a part of, right? What role do you play in all of this? And for the past few years, this is a question you've been needing to answer, but it hasn't been easy, right? Because Saturn in your sign requires you to be extra disciplined, to be extra diligent in regards to how you identify yourself, right? What you are needs to be concrete, and it needs to be solid, it needs to be secure, and it needs to be something that is sustainable in the long term, right? Something that isn't just running on pure fuel, because fuel eventually runs out, right? You need something that that carries the weight, right? And because you haven't exactly been secure, right? With the nodal axis having been in your 4th house, your 4th and your 10th house, right? Having you look at your position, your role in the world that you inhabit, right? What your purpose is, right? Having you get more diligent in regards to figuring out what your purpose is, right? Like you a lot of Sagittarians have been needing to take the path of healing, right? Healing the inner child, or the inner or the psyche, right? You've been on this almost shamanistic type of journey where you've been needing to ask big questions of how you can basically deliver your message on this planet, right? Like, how do you heal past all of the karmic baggage that you're carrying in order to make it something that can be delivered in some form to the world, right? Like, how can all of the experiences that have shaped who you are allow you to grow past this chapter that you've been stuck on, right? You've been needing to find a new way to do things, a new way to serve. And this Virgo season, now in September, is having you look at that very crucially. And we no longer have the North Node here any longer, so it is no longer so confusing. You don't feel lost anymore. You don't have to feel stuck. You're not bound to anything, right? And whatever that may have felt for you in the time that it occurred, right? How you felt stuck, how you felt bound to the past, perhaps, how you felt bound to those you feel closely connected to, right? That haven't exactly been allowing you to shine because you've been basically stuck in the mud, stuck with the baggage that you inherited, right? That was basically delivered to you. And this Virgo season, this month, is all about getting back on track. And it culminates to, on September 19th, we have the new moon in Virgo at the top of your chart, your 10th house. And this new moon in Virgo in particular will be speaking to Saturn in your 1st, and directly opposing, or almost directly opposing, Chiron in Pisces retrograde, which is in your 4th house. So again, we come back to this conversation. We come back to this conversation, the need for you to figure out the service and how you offer yourself to the world, right? What part you play in the world you inhabit. And this can be with any new moon at the top of our chart, this can be the offering of new leadership positions. This can be the offering of a new career path, like as you figure out the new niche you're looking to dabble in or explore or inhabit or capacitate, right? As you see what you have to offer, right? what new service, what new way of being to particularize, right? In the form of service, in the form of a career, perhaps, in the form of the world you inhabit, the part you play. New opportunities can come in, right? New opportunities to allow yourself to shine in that capacity, right? To ultimately, right? Ultimately, this conversation, this new moon, is having you look at the need for you right now, Sagittarius, to find a new path, a new level of dedication towards your life purpose, right? As you figure out who and what you are, right? As you stabilize yourself more, you figure out what your voice is, right? Like, you figure out basically, if you consider yourself standing on a podium, right? Standing on the top of the world, let's just say. Bear with me on these analogies, right? But if you consider yourself just this month standing at the podium of life, right? And you only have, 3 sentences, let's just say, to describe yourself or describe what your priorities, what your mission in life is. This is the month to do that, right? This is the month for you to basically find your niche, make the mission statement, make the dedication to the new path, to the new life, to the new lifestyle, the new habit patterns, the new self, the new you that you're looking to become, that you're looking to unfold and unfurl over these next several years, right? And coming to the end of September now, as we move into the Libra season, as the sun enters Libra on, I believe, the 22nd, right? The 22nd of September, we have the sun entering Libra, which is your 11th house, and it is going over where Jupiter, your ruling planet, has been in for the past year now, and it is looking at it for the first time since Jupiter has been here. It is looking at your friendships, your alliances, who you align yourself with, right? Your world, the little things, right? The relationships, the connections, the groups, and the even more abstract than that, the hopes, the wishes, the dreams, the ideals, right? And as well as your contribution to your world. It's looking at all of this very particularly as Jupiter has been crossing this area, this portion of your chart for some time now. It is looking at it with fresh eyes. And you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision, especially by September 28th. This conversation will be extra emphasized as Jupiter will be in direct opposition to Uranus retrograde in Aries, which is in your 5th house. And on the same day, Pluto comes direct in your 2nd house. So what all of this means, Sagittarius, is you're going to have to make some decisions by the end of this month about your world, right? And about realizing that you can't take the past with you, right? And you don't want to, because the past sort of is what the load is what the load has been, is why you've been feeling stuck. It's why you've been feeling not so jolly, right? Not so secure. And Saturn in your sign has been sort of driveling you or, pressuring you to make some type of commitment to yourself, right? To the new life, to a new version of yourself. You've been needing to construct and deconstruct yourself over these past 2 years now. And right now, just before Jupiter comes into Scorpio, which is your 12th house, which is you coming into the cocoon, right? Coming into the underworld, coming into a state of transition between the past and the future. Jupiter opposing Uranus in your 11th and 5th house is this big question of what brings you happiness and what doesn't, what brings you home and what doesn't, what is the new blueprint, what is the blueprint for the new world that you're wishing to create. And it all has to do with the relationships, the people in your life that help you get to a higher degree, a higher state of balance, and being able to see your world from multiple different perspectives, not just from some rigid, from some overly dogmatic even perhaps view of what you think life is. The only way to expand your world is to be able to allow other people to offer their perspective, to give you another side of the story, right? And these people are what allow you to go on these new adventures. And you have to pick and choose. You have to pick and choose what does it for you and what doesn't. What belongs, what needs to stay in the past, right? And what you need to take with you in the future. And it's weighing out the pros and cons because this is Jupiter in Libra, right? So it is the measuring, it is the balancing of the scales, and ultimately it's coming to this cohesiveness, right? This cohesiveness of purpose, of aligning purpose within yourself that reflects out into the outer world, right? So Uranus for some time now, and this is the last year that Uranus will be in Aries, or having retrograde in Aries. This is the last year that Uranus will be retrograde in Aries, right? As Uranus moves into Taurus in May of 2017. So Uranus in Aries in your 5th has been sort of the deep dive on, and stimulating you. It's like life is trying to open you up in so many ways, Sagittarius. It's trying to get you to open your heart in a new way. It's trying to get you to expand in ways you've never expanded before. And this all has to do with your emotions. It all has to do with the journey you take within yourself, right? The journey you take, the risks you take, the bold choices, the bold decisions you make, right? You take to make, right? To express yourself in a whole new way. This can be a new way of communicating. This can be a whole new way of putting your work out in the world, right? Like how you emote, how you express yourself, your personal creativity level, right? You've been downloaded, you've been flooded with a whole bunch of creative inspiration, right? The muse has been talking to you for a long time, and it's been sort of giving you a snapshot of the future, right? Of what you need to communicate in order to inspire whatever this future will be. And this this is ultimately helping you get to a more secure, more stable foundation for yourself, because as you learn what your creative voice, what your creative talents, what your abilities are, right? As you open your heart in that way, as you expand your belief systems with the nodal axis in your 9th house, right? This is your house, by the way. You're just becoming a whole new version of what Sagittarius is, right? Because it's almost as if all of the courses have run themselves, right? It's almost as if you've explored everything there is to explore, except the one journey that you have been afraid to make all of this time, and that is within yourself, right? That is within the deeper layers, the emotions, the emotional realm of your being, right? The spiritual realm, the not just the spiritual realm, because you are the philosopher, but it's more than just the abstractness of whatever whatever these realms have been for you, right? As you've been theorizing them and seeing it or exploring it from a sort of, it's like saying, I'm on this spiritual journey, right? I've visited a bunch of teachers, and I've visited the monks of Bali in India, right? And I've been searching for the sacred chalice all of this time, right? And I've done my work, I've done my homework, and I've come to this point of enlightenment, right? But you're seeing the facade for what it is, Sagittarius. You're seeing that facade, and you're coming to the conclusion that there is only one way. There is only one way for you to know. Not through everyone else's way, but through your own being, through the exploration of the depthness of your own being. And ultimately this comes down to finding your niche and finding the connections, the people who are going to be there to support whatever this new version of yourself will be. So by the end of this month, we're coming to this big conversation, this big commitment to make and construct the blueprints for your future, and constructing the plan, the foundation for what you will build by the time Jupiter, your ruling planet, comes in your sign, which is the end of 2018. So for the next year, you're going to be in a bit of a cocoon, a bit of a transitional phase of digging up everything and digging up everything in your subconscious and going on the adventure of your lifetime, which is the adventure within yourself, right? Which is the adventure into the deep, dark night of the soul, right? So there's a lot to look forward to, but it all comes down to recognizing what you will take with you and being extra diligent in regards to who's along with you for the ride. So thank you very much for watching, Sagittarius. I will see you in October. And if you would like a personal reading with me, I do have links in the description for you to be able to do so. And feel free to check out your sun, your moon, and your rising/ascendant sign, as well as any other horoscopes that you believe play a prominent theme in your chart. Let's just say if you have like 3 to 5 planets perhaps in Pisces, you may want to check out that video, as it may contain information that is relevant to your personal natal chart. But as always, listen to your personal intuition, because that is number one, that is key. And again, thank you very much for watching, Sagittarius, and I will see you next month.